Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Talking Heartland podcast. And this is a show where we like to talk about Heartland. We've recapped every episode. And today we are talking about episodes 5 and 6 of season 18. And these were both, I think, pretty solid episodes. Would you agree, Michelle?
Yeah, they're both solid, but I had a lot of different feelings about one episode
Yeah.
versus the other.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So
okay.
yeah,
I'll be
just went
interested
that.
to see what
Yeah,
you think. Yeah, I thought they were both pretty good. I still am not really loving this Katie plot line, although
yeah.
they at least did something kind of interesting with it, and with her and Brandon and everything. I'm also
hmm
not super feeling the Logan plot line. Uh,
Yeah, big time.
but there are parts that are working. Our first episode, episode 5, is called Fork in the Road. And basically, we're moving forward with the bison in
Yeah.
at Heartland. And so, I mean, this looks like a pretty mature herd of bison
hmm
that they purchased, and then they'll be selling and everything.
You
And
ever
you,
had bison? Have you ever had it?
I have, and I mean, it basically tastes like beef.
Mm, never,
Yeah,
never had it.
I
No.
mean, like I've had like a bison burger. I think that's basically what I've had. And it
hmm
it's just basically tastes like ground beef. It's a lot less fatty, and so people will suggest it as like a healthy alternative to beef.
hmm
You'll see that, but it's kind of like all game meat is kind of low on fat, so you have to kind
hmm
of add some. It can get dry. It can be dry because it has no fat. But the same thing with venison, and so you you have to do things to make it taste good. But yeah, I mean, I know that bison can be pretty expensive.
Mm,
It can be like double the cost of beef, although beef has been rising and being more expensive lately. So
yeah,
I guess it just depends.
yeah. That'll be why Lou's pushing it then.
Yeah. And so Amy starts practicing on the roping. And that, I mean, Nathan doing the roping, that was pretty sexy.
Yeah, I did really like him in this episode. It's probably the most I've liked him because it does feel like the character does feel like he's had a weight lifted.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit more of a lightness to him, even though there was was all the stuff with his dad and stuff going on. Um, but it definitely did feel like a little bit of a. I did feel a little bit more positive towards him this time
I
around.
don't really understand the like shame associated with Alzheimer's that he's feeling.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's
I think
not
yeah.
like it's a not that you should feel shamed for any, your health is
hmm
your health, but like there are some there are some conditions that in the past at least, were a little hush hush, like don't talk about it or whatever.
hmm
Like a sexually transmitted disease or something like that. I could, I guess, understand that. But like Alzheimer's is so common. You almost expect at a certain age that most
hmm
people will have some degree of the dementia. So I don't understand why he's like, don't tell anybody. This is like a big secret. I don't quite get it.
Yeah, I think it's more kind of twofold of him trying to maybe respect his dad's wishes and trying to preserve the Nathan Price that people think he is, and respect his privacy. And then there's also this thing that comes up in the second episode where they're making out that the dad's still running the business.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I think that's also like a factor. Like
Yeah.
they're running their business like the dad is still at the helm.
I mean,
So
I guess he had all those relationships and stuff, and maybe Nathan
mhm,
didn't then develop those relationships
yeah.
because otherwise it's just like, why would anybody care? Like people get
Yeah, it
sick.
doesn't make
Like
a difference. Yeah,
we literally
yeah,
had a
it's
president of the United States that ended up getting Alzheimer's. Like
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of people. Like it's not like it's not something to be ashamed of. I don't know. It
Mm-hmm.
just I think it certainly caused more problems for him hiding
Yeah.
it than if they had just come out and had like a news conference and been like, this is my father and
Yeah.
he has Alzheimer's
And it's
and
like, yeah, it's
so
also the thing of like you tell one person in your circle, and it's like only a matter of time before it
well, yeah, we see that with
everybody would
Lou.
say, yeah.
Yeah, we see that with Lou. And so but it was really nice seeing Nathan being like a cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And Amy's into it, you can see.
Yeah. I still
And
don't know where their relationship like is. Like they still haven't had a kiss, but they're like very like physical with each other. So it's also
yeah.
like, and there's also this like thing with Caleb as well of like, what's your deal with Caleb? It's like, is it your business? Are they like a thing? Like, it
Yeah,
feels
I
like
mean
they never should have
Nathan,
had that
yeah.
conversation.
Nathan says, "What's the deal with Caleb?" And Amy says, "We sorted it out and we both know where we stand." And he says, "You sure Caleb sees that?"
Mm.
And so then Amy kind of looks concerned right there. And so we get this back and forth, and yeah, I mean, I do think they seems like they're leaning towards Nathan being endgame than
Mm-hmm.
Caleb in these two episodes, but I don't know. Do you think there's still a chance for Caleb?
I think they're leaving the door open for Caleb. Um, and there's always this little bit of like hesitancy from Amy. Like the door is not completely shut, just from the like the way that Amber's playing it. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I do like I do enjoy it for the drama. Since
Uh-huh.
we've not had this in Heartland for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't mind them playing it out.
Yeah.
If we get to like 5 seasons of this, I'll have an issue. But I do think there's a reason that they're not completely closing the door on it. And I do like the way Caleb like handled himself in this episode, despite the fact of Lou's trying to interfere. I like the fact that he respected, her wishes and didn't try and push it, and because yeah, nobody wants to see him get rejected twice. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. But he's gonna go on the Bronx just to try to impress her.
yeah, that was
Oh.
yeah. Ugh, Caleb.
Yeah. Yeah. And so but you can tell he's feeling it when he sees
Yeah,
Amy and Nathan practicing together, and he's just so sad.
yeah. I'm still very much Team Caleb, but I
Yes,
do
me
like
too.
Nathan. Like Nathan has really grown on me.
Uh-huh.
Um, I just don't like the division with the family, but then again, on the other side, I like the drama of that. Um, so it's just, yeah, it's just that the relationship is so tangled up in the business part of it. Um,
Well, we
yeah.
finally got in the next episode, we finally got Amy telling Lou like what's the difference between Nathan and Peter.
Mhm.
Peter was also the outsider of the family coming in,
Yep.
and I mean, he was literally going to
He's like
take
the
their
oil guy. Yeah.
land,
Yeah.
which was the
Mhm.
most prized of all. I mean, at least Nathan them they're actually literally sharing land, including the
Sharing land.
well, the
Yeah, and
new
water.
well.
Yeah.
So in some
Mhm.
ways, Peter was more of a threat
Yeah.
to Heartland Ranch than even Nathan was.
But it's
And then
different though,
these
because that was Lou and this is Amy.
yeah,
Then Lou's gonna Lou.
yeah. Well, so Katie, it seems like their group is finally actually writing because it seems like it's just been a book club so far. And they said to write down a memorable coming of age moment. And how old
Mhm.
are we supposed to believe Katie is at this point? 16?
I think she's 15.
15. Okay.
15, 16, yeah.
15. And I mean, I think that you could still have a coming of age moment at
Mhm.
15. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, our parents have been divorced, got back together, like
right.
just the family alone.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true. It's true, but she doesn't feel like she does, so she's like talking to her mom, trying to get some ideas. And I mean, I just don't like this plot. I think it's really dumb.
I
I don't know,
think
it's
it's
just
very
boring.
played out now. I really thought this episode she would come clean.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was going to be the climax. For some reason, I think I saw it in like a preview or something like that. Um, and I just assumed from the way that it was described that the truth was going to come out. She tells like glue or something, but yeah, it obviously read that wrong. But yeah, it is very drawn out,
Like, and
and
wouldn't
a little
every
boring at
wouldn't
this point.
wouldn't these people know who Lou is?
Yeah, she's the
She
mayor
was
for like.
mayor. It's a
I suppose
small
Jessica's new,
place.
but the rest of the group isn't.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
Jessica.
you would think that, I mean, and you would just think that the Fleming Morris clan would be pretty well known. And certainly
Yeah,
the
and
former mayor's daughter, people would know who that is.
yeah, and Amy's like a celebrity, and
Yeah,
everybody knows Jack, and
right. Yeah, so it just it's not. And who cares? Like if you want to go to a writing group, I mean, unless
the
they're
stakes
right.
are so low. That's the thing.
Yeah, like unless they're like writing erotica or something inappropriate, that like
Inappropriate. Yeah.
would need to have an age limit. I can't
Mm.
understand why anyone would be like, sorry, you're 15, you can't come work on your writing at this thing at the library. That makes no sense.
Yeah, the public library.
That's stupid. I thought what they were going to do was they were going to have her meet somebody at the writing group, and
Hmm.
then the lie would kind of go further than she wanted it, and they would think that
Yeah,
she
get a
was
little dark. Yeah.
yeah, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. They like bring back Brandon,
Yes.
and
Just
so
yeah,
I
there's
don't
a
know. It's
little
just
white lie that's just been dragged out for like half a season now.
yeah, that doesn't matter. Who cares? But anyway,
I mean,
so she's
yeah,
trying to figure out a coming of age moment.
yeah. I mean, I suppose it's bringing back Brandon and it's giving her like more plot. So
Yeah.
yeah, more screen time.
I mean, and I guess
Isn't
she
bad.
doesn't know about Lou's phone call to her dad. She doesn't know that story
Mm,
about her mom. Because that would definitely be Lou's moment.
yeah.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Jack gets a call to be a guest in the play-by-play rodeo commentary guy in the booth. And so he's excited about that. And of course, Tim's jealous about that. Is he?
I feel like it was anybody else who wouldn't care, but because it's Jack.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Jack ends up through various shenanigans, he ends up alone in the booth. And he's really struggling, which is really funny. He's really bad at doing that play-by-play.
Yeah, I do like when they give Jack comedy because Sean is so good. So
Yeah,
good at it.
it's so good. And he shows like such favoritism on
Hmm.
the things that you would never
Yeah,
want to do.
yeah.
Play-by-play. So Tim hears that and he's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And so he goes up there and then they become this like dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
And it makes sense in a way. They are so sort of yin yang.
Yeah.
And they spend the majority of their time
I need
with
Jack
this
and Tim
banter.
to become like the new podcasting team. They're
Yeah.
like the click and clack of Hudson.
Yeah, they can do like a Raisin Bison podcast or something.
Yeah. I think that would get a lot of listeners. That was really fun. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
that a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Logan is debating about what he wants to do with the cult starting, and he considers this having his boom box, and Tim says, "Let your horsemanship speak for itself. You don't
Mhm.
need the big, thing." And so at the end, he ends up standing on the colt.
Mhm. A very Amy.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
Amy thing to do.
yes. And he ends up getting second place, and he's really upset
Yeah, this has
about
been
it.
my like thing with Logan. Like he's already been frustrating. But yeah, his reaction to getting second really frustrated me, and then it was like throughout the whole second episode as well. I just find him to be so, yeah, just frustrating, and it's hard because he's a kid and he's trying to grow up so fast and have all of these things, and maybe seeing Amy be number one at pretty much anything she tries. Um, because
Yeah,
everything she tries, she wins. But yeah, he's just.
I think it would
I
be
don't know if it's
nice
the
if,
writing. Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be nice if we got some softer moments between maybe Logan and a horse, or
Mhm.
maybe Logan and Amy, whatever. Like, because he's just complaining a lot.
Yeah, that's
He
the
was
thing. It's.
complaining about Miley's parents. He's complaining
Mhm.
about, complaining to Tim. Tim won't let him use the truck. Like,
Mhm.
it just seems like every episode there's a lot of Logan complaining.
Yeah, and he doesn't get enough screen time beyond that to really give it the depth that it needs to really sort of understand where he's coming from, because even now I still don't really know where he's coming from on this.
Yeah.
Like,
And we've had almost no like romantic swoony moments between Logan and Miley.
yeah,
So it didn't
yeah.
surprise me at all when she thinks they're breaking up, because
Mhm.
I did not think she was going to say yes at the very least, because they're just given nothing to be really like invested in this couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, I guess, where they go from that. But yeah, it would be nice if Logan had an arc with, like I said, either a horse or a human. This is Heartland. It's gonna be
Yeah.
one or the other. But I think it
Yeah.
would
And
be
it
nice.
doesn't feel like any of the things that he's doing is something that he's naturally just picked up. It's all things that have been, encouraged by other people. Um, so yeah, I feel like he's very
Yeah, that's true. That's a
directionless.
good
Yeah,
point. Yeah, I mean, because the cult starting was suggested by Tim.
yeah,
Uh, what would be nice if he was working at the rodeo school and became like a mentor to like
mhm,
some younger maybe kid wanting to
mhm,
learn or something. You know what I mean? Then that would be like
yeah,
that would be really endearing to the character, I think.
mhm, yeah. I just don't know what his goals are.
Uh-huh.
He's like he wants to be this, a big deal and successful, but like at what?
Yeah, yeah. So Lou sees Caleb kind of pining, and he says, "Does that bother you, Amy and Nathan?"
Oh, she can't help but interfere. She's just
Says you have to make her see you in a different light. And then he's like, sometimes you have to take the bull by the horns or the bronc. So
I was so worried he was gonna like get hurt. Hurt
God.
all his yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so then Nathan shows up. His dad is missing. And that's like
Mm,
a real thing with people with Alzheimer's. They will bolt.
yeah.
They get confused. And when my grandfather, he would just kind of started on that path. He had had it for a couple of years. He was visiting my family in California, and we lost him. And they even brought like the helicopter in. Like it was like a whole day of
Oh my
searching.
God.
Yeah, it was terrifying. And finally, a pool man found him in like a neighbor's backyard. Like, it's crazy.
It's so scary.
So if you ever see like an old person that looks a little confused, that looks a little, something, it never hurts to just be like, is everything okay? Like
Yeah.
it never hurts to ask a couple questions and just make sure,
Yeah.
because it happens quite a bit.
Yeah. It happened with me. Like, I was just waiting on a bus, and there was this lady, and it was really busy. And she clearly didn't know where she was or where she was trying to get to. All we could really get out of her was like she was going to see a friend, and she kept trying to give people money, like
Mm-hmm.
because obviously she had it in her head of like, I pay money to do this thing to get from A to B. But yeah, we managed to flag down a police car and get her some help. But yeah, it was like, it's so scary to think about, like, is this person's loved ones are probably like losing their minds right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, what's the worst that could happen? They just
Yeah.
say no, like it
Yeah.
never hurts to just ask. And so anyway, he's missing, he's gone, and it turns out he'd taken the car, which is scary for someone like that. And he
Yeah.
crashed the car. Caleb, he comes and saves the day. That was another thing that thought maybe they could go somewhere with Caleb, because any friend of Amy's and all of that kind of, I mean, they're making him really likable.
Yeah.
Really, really likable.
Yeah. And I think they've matured him quite a lot as well. And just in like the job change, and even how he handled this situation, of making that decision to like let Amy make her own decision. She's made her decision regarding him.
Yeah.
And it's not down to him to like interfere. Like he's let her know how he feels, so it's kind of in balls in her court. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to take a lot for them to make me not Team Caleb, especially if they keep dangling it in front of us.
Yeah. And then this whole scene with him dancing with this other girl, and Amy's kind of looking at it, like getting a little jealous.
And also just like that first episode that he came back with the whole like shirtless thing. I'm like,
right.
I keep going back
and
to
being
that.
A pilot, no.
Yeah, I keep going back to that because I feel like you're not going to gaslight me into thinking that you weren't like.
And then she says, "You're still my best friend," and Caleb says, "Mine too."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, don't you want to be with your best friend?
Yeah. And also the whole connection with Ty as well. And I do think it is a test in the waters situation to see how the fans react. I think that's my like cynical like side of thinking of this, of the writers just wanting to be sensitive and pick the right thing, because you'll always have people say bring Ty back. Like, it's so ridiculous.
So ridiculous. He wanted to leave. The actor wanted to leave. It was not like a forced expulsion. He wanted to go.
He literally still hangs out with all of the, like with Amber all the time. Like it's not
He's
the
like
people.
Seems
just
perfectly happy, just doing his podcasting and hanging out. So
it's perfectly reasonable that somebody after 10 years wants a different job.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the good folks at Harpsichord Press and Lindsay Gibson and her new book, The Christmas Coin. Professional ballet dancer Amelia Collins is blindsided when an accident causes a career-ending injury. With no other options but to start over, she leaves city life behind to remodel a country home in the quaint village of Whitebridge, Connecticut. Running on nothing but hope, she moves in only weeks before Christmas. Then she discovers an old European coin with a story while loading some boxes into her attic. a story that might upend everything, especially when single dad Benjamin Walsh finds out about it, and when she learns he's in charge of her remodel. She isn't quite sure how the holiday will go. You can find out more about the Christmas coin and all the great books from Harper's Road at harpersroad.com. You can purchase the Christmas coin wherever you do your holiday book shopping, or you can use the affiliate link below. That's The Christmas Coin by Lindsay Gibson. We know you'll love it. So then Katie gets embarrassed by Lou. Lou meets the writer group lady. And Lou says, well, I wrote a book about moms and whatever. And the lady says, oh, great. That's cool. And Katie is embarrassed by her mom. And her mom says, she says, Jasmine is a real writer. That's her name. Jasmine is a real writer. She doesn't want to hear about your random collection of online musings. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, just roll.
Holy cow. I mean, she's just asking to get grounded. Like,
yeah,
that's so rude.
Yeah, and what's she going to tell the group then? Like, I can't come home grounded.
Like, that's really mean. For Katie to say.
Of all of the embarrassing things Lou could have done, that's pretty low on the scale.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what type of book you write. If you've got experience in the publishing world, that's gold dust.
Right. Yeah, she's done a book tour. She's had
done
editors.
A lot more than all of them combined. So
your random collection of online musings. Writing class is my thing. I have friends. I'm not a kid anymore. Okay, Katie.
Okay. I do like the fact that when they were talking about just maybe really laugh was when they were talking about the coming of age things, and it got to her and she was like, the one time my friends made me jump over a pile of dirt. And I was like, it was a pile of dirt.
Smallest. Yeah, she called it a pond. It was not a pond. It was like not even close. It's not like it was a water trough or any. No, it was like a tiny pile of dirt and a little
trickle of water. Yeah,
gallon of water.
It's so funny. It's so funny that she just described it as a pile of dirt. I was like, yeah, what's a pile of dirt?
So she does apologize. And she says, I don't know who I am. And so she says, well, Mom, what is your coming of age story? And I was thinking about it, what would be my coming of age story that I would write about? It would probably be a little bit older than some people's. I think for me, really the whole year of 2001 was so I was 20, was kind of a pivotal year for me. My cousin passed away quite suddenly. Well, two cousins of mine passed away, and then my grandfather died, and then 9/11 happened. It was all really intense.
My God,
yeah, for 1 year. Whew. And so that year, I think, is kind of when I officially became a grown up.
Yeah,
but I always had a pretty grown up soul.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I don't think there's anything other than obviously people passing away and things like that. That always changes a person, I think, regardless of their age, but also the first time it happens.
Yeah.
When you first sort of realize the effect that one person passing can have. Yeah, that's always tough. But yeah, I've always just I never went to. Well, I did go to college, so that's a lie. But I didn't really stick it out because I was going in a direction, a career that I ended up not liking once I had actual job experience. So I sort of pivoted and worked somewhere else, and I've just always worked. I never had that college experience. I don't have any lasting bonds or anything from that time. I literally couldn't remember a single name. It's that it just is not for me. So yeah, it's hard. I think I've always just been very grown up.
Yeah. Well, they start university younger there, don't they?
Well, you can leave it. Yeah, you can leave at 16, and you can go into you can go to university, but you have to stay on to you're 18. If you want to go the university route, but if you want to go the college route, that's more
Oh, it's
geared
different.
toward. Yeah, it's different. A college is geared towards trades.
Mm.
So if you want to go into physical therapy or nursing, or you can start early. You can obviously go the route of education and go that route as well, which would obviously take you to like a you know bit of more career sort of
Yeah.
aspirations. But if you want to just do like basic care and work childcare things like that, you can just go to college for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for me it was
Yeah.
like professional cookery, so I went in and worked with like a chef and things like that. And
Mm.
when I get into her kitchen, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. Chefs are mean. Chefs are
Yeah.
horrible.
Oh, I mean, and being on your feet all day, like you have to be
Yeah.
on for that. That I couldn't do it. No way.
Yeah, and my
No
mum's
way.
always been like, she had her first stroke when I was in my 20s as well, so
Oh,
that was
really?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I've always just had to be grown up, I think.
Yeah. Well, so Caleb, he tells Amy that the supply run and not come through Hudson anymore, so you won't have this extra person sleeping on your couch.
Ugh,
Oh,
yeah, we're gonna like have him like hiding from Amy or something, hopefully,
it's really
because
too
he's obviously
bad.
lying. Yeah, he's obviously
Well,
lying.
yeah, he's lying. It's too bad though that Jess and Tim are in the apartment, because that would be like a perfect place to
Hmm.
have Caleb, and then they
Yeah,
could keep like running into each other and
yeah, and they've got the dude ranch, but they never tend to sort of use it for family. Who knows what happens at the dude ranch these days?
yeah, yeah. Evidently,
Who's
it's just
running
like
it?
available at all
Really?
times for
Yeah,
astronomy club meetups.
yeah. Like who runs it? Who knows? Like,
So then Nathan says, "You pulled me out of a panic attack there,"
hmm
and then she says, "Admitting your fears is nothing to be embarrassed by. It's brave."
yeah. That's when I was like, what is the relationship status? Because like she was very physical with him, like touching him, and I was like, haven't you had their first kiss yet? And it's like, what is?
Yeah, I
They were,
I'm really confused as well.
yeah.
What's going on?
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Okay, so this next episode we is called Sisters, and we have Nathan inviting Amy over to dinner. Lindy is on the horse next to her when she gets the call,
hmm
and so Lindy's pretty excited. She's pretty supportive of her
Yeah,
mom and dating and stuff, which is cute.
yeah. I feel like those twins have just grown up so much more. Like
Yeah,
even with that little like cut to Lindy, I was like, oh my god, like she's so big. It's kind of scary.
yeah. So we have this client that Lou is trying to sell the bison to. And they are the biggest customer of or they are a big customer with Crown Shoppers,
Hmm
and they have, or they own Crown Shoppers, and that's
hmm
who has the exclusive deal with Price Beef.
hmm
But Lou justifies it because she's just selling the bison.
Yeah.
And but I mean, she doesn't necessarily need to justify it. Like, why why would it be a problem if Price Beef stole Garland Foods? Why would it be a problem if Heartland steals Crown Shoppers?
Yeah. It's
Isn't
just
it the
messy. Like,
same?
it's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah,
weird.
and I was kind of like Amy was a little bit sensitive in that sense of like it's a completely different product that they're selling. Not completely
Yeah,
different, obviously, but like you know, it's not like they're competing directly. They're not
yeah.
dropping price. So they had no interest and in leaving price whatsoever. So yeah, it feels like it was a little bit more for the drama.
So Lou and Lisa and Amy end up going up to see this client. The client has this horse, wants Amy to work on. They're going to talk
hmm
about the bison. It's going to be Heartland women going and yeah, I mean, I don't think that Lisa would go if she knew that Jack was having these problems.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
that felt a little bit weird, and also I was like, she's like, I don't know if she's a millionaire, but she's like extremely wealthy,
yeah,
runs like this massive business, and then when Lou's describing like all of their like qualities, and she's like, oh, and we need Lisa's charm, and I'm like, she has like
yeah.
she
I
has a
agree
massive
about
business
that.
that like eclipses Heartland like a dozen times, like
Yeah, I mean, especially if this guy is a
it's
big
so
horse
funny.
guy.
Yeah, it was so
You
funny
know,
the way
he's
she was
having
just like,
Amy
in your
there.
charm. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was weird.
It was also really funny. It was just like a weird detail of like when they first arrive, like someone brings out water and they just give it to Lou and Lisa, and Amy doesn't have water. Like it's just them. And then later on in the episode, um, Lisa's pouring wine, and it's like her and Lou is again, and like Amy's sitting there with nothing. Like it's a weird thing. I don't know
That
why I
is
noticed
weird.
it. I
I
don't know
didn't
why I
notice
noticed it. I was
that.
just like, she doesn't get water. She doesn't get wine.
That's
As far
funny.
as I know, she just drinks, so it was, like,
Yeah.
very
Well,
strange.
so Parker calls Katie and says that the astronomy club is looking for a place to do their stargazing event.
Mhm.
And so then Katie thinks this would be a good place to have your first kiss.
Yeah. She's
Yeah,
doing it for the plot.
right. And Peter's back. Peter's back in town.
Mhm.
And so, wow, he's
Every time
nice
he
to
comes
see.
back, I'm like, I wish they would have him around more. I know
I
he's
know,
probably
me
busy, he's got his
too.
own show and things like that. But yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
I
so funny.
mean,
She's like, "I'm so sorry for calling," and I'm like, "He's their dad," like it was such a weird thing
I
of like,
mean,
"Thanks for
yeah,
babysitting."
you shouldn't like have to ask your spouse to, or whatever they are now,
Mhm.
to spend time with his daughter.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
babysitting.
like, oh, will you
It's looking
watch
after your
her? No,
friend.
it's your
Yeah.
daughter. You're not watching anybody. But yeah, and so he's excited though in about it. And so Jack, he has this, his back basically seizes up, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, back pain's the worst.
Mm, it is
Oh
the
my god.
worst. It's true. And you don't realize until one of those muscles gets
Mhm.
pulled
Yeah.
how much you use your, like, obviously
Yep.
you use your back, but like just like every little like movement and just trying to do anything, it hurts. It's brutal.
Yeah. And they always say, like, the best thing to do for it is walking and, like, you just
Oh,
just don't lie and kind of hope it goes away. It's you have to, like, move and yeah, it's brutal. Especially for me, I've always had, like, physical jobs. So if my back's out, like, there's no way that I can work. There's just no physical way. Um,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like my job would probably be, helpful and be like, try and do something that doesn't require like lifting or something like that. But yeah, it's like it is, especially when it's if you do something and then you put your back out, like fair enough. But sometimes I'll sleep weird and have like backache for a week, and it's like all I did was sleep, and now I have like
Yeah. No, it's true. Like you want some like
reason for it.
Some like exciting story.
Yeah,
of,
how
like,
did you hurt your back? I slept with
slept.
it.
Yeah, it's brutal. But we have Miley telling Logan, you don't need to have your picture in the newspaper to impress me. Because that's why he's mad that he got second place, not first place.
Yeah, like his reaction to that was just so like I'd imagine as like a girlfriend to be super unattractive. Like this thing that I've never done before, ever.
Right.
I
Yeah,
come
that's
in
the
second
thing.
and I didn't win. Like that's the thing. Like
Yeah. Like even if you feel
to be
that way
fair,
inside, like you
mhm,
just keep
yeah,
it to
that's an
yourself.
inside. Yeah, that's an inside
Yeah.
feeling.
Like I remember when like Apollo Anton Ono, the speed skater, I
Hmm.
always was so impressed with him because he was always thrilled to get on a podium of any kind. Like
Yeah,
any medal, he was pumped. And
yeah,
I mean, I think that's like I'm sure he's a super competitive person and always wants to win,
hmm,
but especially in his sport where it's so unpredictable, like crazy things
yeah,
can happen. But I just think that it's just part of being a class act is just
yeah.
not.
I always remember the reaction to I think it was in Rio. Tom Daley won bronze.
Mm,
Or maybe it was in London. He won bronze. But yeah, his reaction was like he was over the moon,
stoked. Yeah.
like so excited, so happy. Like he like leapt into the pool. All of his teams leapt in after him, and people were like making fun of him. It's like you won
Yeah.
bronze. Like why? Are you? It's like oh my god, you came third in the world at this thing, and it's not good enough.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Well, so then so Logan talks to Jack and gets trying to get advice on proposing and proposing to Miley. Why do
Hmm.
you think that he seems so kind of desperate to do this?
I don't know. Like he seems to want to speed everything up. Like, that's sort
Yeah.
of his thing of, like, he wants to race through all of these things, he wants to be super successful, but now he wants to, you know, be in this, like, serious committed relationship and prove to Riley's parents that he's worthy, but he wants to do it now. Like, yeah, it just
How old
feels
do
like
you
he's
think
in
he's supposed to be?
I think
19?
he's yeah, 19, yeah, like 18, 19.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I am totally supportive of people that do decide to get married young. I
Mhm,
don't think it's like the insanity that other people make it out to be. I
mhm,
think you just have to I think there's benefits to any age of getting married and also struggle, challenges to any
mhm,
marriage. Marriage is just hard, but you have to be willing to grow together as people.
mhm,
And if that's something that you can do, then it'll be great because I think sometimes it would be harder to get married later because you're a fully formed person with established habits and you
yeah,
know like so it just everything has its pluses and minuses, but I guess my concern with is less his age and more just his lack of passion. He does not
yeah,
seem that in love with Miley to me.
yeah. It seems like he's loving the idea of it.
Yeah.
And having this person, and again, it's the fact that we haven't really seen their courtship and like their dynamic together. We're just sort of getting told it.
Yeah.
Um, so that obviously doesn't help. But yeah, it's. I mean, I will give props to Jack for like not talking him out of it, of like
Right.
letting him go through that experience. Even though I'm sure Jack knew the reason he came up to sort of find him is he knew that it wasn't going to go well for him. Um, and also like he married young as well. Um, so yeah, who's he to sort of say you shouldn't do this?
Yeah.
So I think in a way he was sort of the perfect person to help him with that. But yeah, it's I just wonder where they're going to go with him now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, then he does set up this whole campsite and everything like that, and Miley thinks they're breaking up. and he gets down on one knee, and so, oh man.
Yeah, but that's,
Yeah. So when Amy gets up there at the client, it turns out he has this horse who got spooked in a trailer, and she starts working with him. The horse's name is Sushi. And this was a beautiful horse.
a beautiful horse, and I really liked the grandson. I thought it was so fun.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I miss having those like episodes of just, you'd have someone come in for one episode, and sometimes it'd work, sometimes it wouldn't. But yeah, I've missed that sort of things. It feels like it's been very based on the family now.
Yeah, and well, it's just to have like a unique horse. Like I feel like we haven't had one really since Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Since Jack's horse.
Jack's horse, yeah.
Yeah. That we haven't had that's what's called Blue, right? Blue horse. Yeah, Blue.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't had a really interesting, unique looking horse since Blue. And I just thought this was a very beautiful horse, and the whole thing that Amy figures out that it's deaf. They can't hear.
Yeah.
It was a good moment for her.
Yeah, it was a good moment, and I like the way that they handled it of like, this is what happened, but like, let's talk about how we move forward with it. It wasn't like a negative thing. It was like, we can make this work.
Yeah. So we have this fight between Lou and Amy. Lou says, "How can you not take our side?" And Amy says, "I shouldn't have to." And then that's when she talks about Peter.
Yeah.
And how can you compare Peter to Nathan? Because of Nathan, we could lose our ranch. Well, technically, Peter wanted to take all the land. Like, he wanted to buy
for oil, like.
for the oil. I mean, it's been a bit since I saw those episodes, but still. And I'm sure we'll have our Heartland fans correcting us on which we love. You are being so selfish and oblivious. Do we think Amy is being a little selfish here? What do you think?
I mean, I think I will say, like, it's been a while since we've had this type of drama on the show, and it was delicious to watch.
Yeah.
I feel like I just don't see why it just couldn't work with them selling bison and him selling beef. Like, it doesn't have to be this big thing, and it just feels like it all kind of boils down to nothing in a way.
Like, I feel like they are both in very similar businesses, and they would by necessity have like similar
crossover.
Clients.
Yeah.
This would not be the first time, won't be the last time.
And it's not like he's been a villain. They're sharing land, they're sharing water. He's been nothing but hospitable. Like, there's really, it's not like and everybody seems to like him, other than the fact that they are sort of being made to compete. So it's not like when Peter first came in and like nobody was Team Peter.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, like, none of the family was
especially because
about Peter.
I mean, especially because Peter was like a totally different kind of person.
Yeah,
he was like an executive, and he's going to take her away to Dubai and blah, blah, blah. And whereas like with Nathan, he's like a cowboy. He's there, like, they're
next door.
Yeah, they're like on the same team, basically. So, I mean, I guess I think it's probably a little bit unrealistic, or maybe I would agree more with the oblivious part than with the selfish part, because I do think it's probably pretty oblivious of or silly of that Amy doesn't kind of know that this will be a problem and isn't like actively trying to like make it better. And so she could be a little more aware of the situation, trying to do things to kind of make.
Yeah, she is a little bit naive, and she's always been like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like out of character for her to be like that. I just think Lou just comes in so hot all the time when
Yeah.
she
She
gets into
says, I
these
try to
situations.
protect you, especially since you lost Ty. And
Yeah.
and then she says, there's something good about Nathan. And Amy says, I don't know if my heart is ready, but I really need your support.
Mhm.
So, and Lisa comes in with Thai food. That's always the olive branch.
Yeah,
Thai
it
food.
was fun for Lisa to just kind of be the person in the middle and not the one
Yeah,
like dragged into
it's
all of the
true.
drama.
Well, and she says that her and her sister got in a disagreement,
Mhm.
and now they just don't really talk that much.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's the thing, is that like every relationship is different. And I think also, like, not only every relationship is different, but I do think you kind of have like ebbs and flows in
Yeah.
most relationships, like times when
Mhm.
you're super close and then times when it's a little more distant, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's just life.
Yeah, it's just life. That's right. So then we have this astronomy thing event, and that looked pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah,
I
I
were
love
in high school, I
astronomy.
would want to go to this event.
Yeah, I would 100% want to be in the astronomy club. I don't know if I'm
Like,
smart enough to be in it, but
yeah. Like
I would like to do the telescope bit.
I am never as into astronomical events, lunar
Mhm.
events, as it seems like a lot of other people are. When
Mhm.
and it always seems like whenever there's a lunar event, it always seems like it's the only one that's going to happen in 50 years. I'm like,
Yeah.
didn't we just have like another like huge, like, didn't that just happen like last year? And then there's another one and another one and another one. And whatever gets you joy, it's fine with me. But sometimes I'm just like, I just can't get that excited about it. But like all the other stuff kind of around
Yeah.
the the meteor thing, the meteor shower,
Mhm.
that would have gotten me pretty excited because I'm a social
Mhm.
person.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that would have been fun.
yeah, it would have been fun. So Peter's kind of watching over things. He's trying, and so he's looking, and then he sees Katie getting upset, and it turns out, so she invites Brandon, and then they almost have a kiss, and then she backs out, and she tells her dad that I turned a nice guy into a casualty for a writing assignment. And he says, you are always allowed to change your mind about anything like that. But don't use someone just for a story. I do
Mhm.
care about him, and I think I really hurt him. So there we
Yeah.
go.
I
But
do
way
like
to
them
go,
together.
Peter. Like that was
Yeah.
the exact perfect response.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dad
Yeah,
points.
definitely. Yeah. Whenever he like shows up and he's this type of Peter, he's kind of like nerdy and like you kind
Uh-huh.
of, uncomfortable and sort of dad. It's like when it's all the business stuff, I really couldn't. I can't handle
Oh
any
my
more of
gosh.
that.
Yeah.
The worst. But yeah, when it's this Peter, like I wish he was around more.
Oh, I mean, I've said it a million times, but I just wish that for that like brief window when he was like working at the ranch and
Hmm.
just basically being like a stay-at-home dad, there was like
Yeah.
a brief window.
Yeah.
That was peak Peter. I just wish
Yeah.
he had stayed that
Yeah.
way.
And
I
his
really do.
dynamic with like Tim and Jack just isn't used to its full potential just because he can't be there as much.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we have he only asked, don't grow up too fast, kid. Yeah. So then Jack, he relents and books a massage with this person, Michelle, and it turns out it's Mikkel. It's a dude, which I feel bad for male masseuses because I think it's got to be tough because like a lot of men aren't comfortable with other men touching their bodies for whatever reason, and
Hmm.
then women might be uncomfortable with a man touching their bodies, and
Hmm.
so like they would have, so it's just it would be a tough, I think, situation to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never had a
No.
massage ever.
Oh, you never have?
No, never.
Even like on your back or your neck or something like that?
No, it just weirds me out.
I've had massages, but it's always been with somebody that I know, which I guess could
Yeah.
technically be more weird, but like it wasn't. So then this is when, but it was a funny moment that
Yeah.
and Lisa that she knew that. But they can, I think, arguably do the better job because they have more upper body strength, to put
Yeah.
into especially for something that's like a serious,
Yeah.
it's not like a
Strain,
pleasurable,
yeah.
it's a therapy, physical
Yeah.
therapy massage.
Yeah. Like a
Anyway.
sports one, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like for relaxation. But so then Amy figures out that Sushi can't hear. So you have to be his ears. Oh, that was sweet.
That was sweet, yeah.
It was really sweet. And then he also turns up the bass. You're a genius, Amy. We know.
And I like that the sort of granddad, the business guy, I forget his name, is sort of like, he was really nice,
Yeah,
which
he
is
was
rare.
nice.
Usually
Yeah.
you get sort of the sort of pushy parent, pushy grandparent. Like, he has to be a champion at all costs, and if you can't fix this horse, then, we're euthanizing it. And it's like, oh my
Right.
God.
Yeah, we have had a lot of those. So then Lou is there watching this happening, and she spills the beans about the Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so Amy spills the beans to them, and then Lou spills the beans to him. And it's like, who's at the fault? Who's at the biggest fault here?
Lou. I mean,
Lou,
that was a
100%.
bad move.
That
was
is just
really bad.
Yeah.
But I think we've all had moments like that where it's like,
Yeah.
oh crap, oh no, oh no.
Yeah, 100%.
Why did I say that?
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like I don't blame Amy for telling them, because I feel like she was really backed into a corner.
Yeah.
And I feel like she had to sort of explain why she was so supportive of Nathan. Especially when they were piling on him so hard for literally doing nothing. Like, all he was doing is like running his business, and being like a good neighbor. Like, so obviously I understand her, but yeah, Lou, it's just.
But
I
I
understand
understand though, because
it's
it's
so
not
easy.
it's not like a big deal. Why is this a secret? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
she even knows necessarily that it's like that much of a secret. Anyway, she
Yeah.
lets it slip, and then she realizes that, oh no. And so then Brandon's upset with Katie, of course. He's upset with her and confused. I would be very confused if I was him.
Yeah.
What is happening? And
Yeah, poor guy.
So then after Miley breaks up with Logan, then Jack talks to Logan. So that was a nice moment. And we find out that Crown Shoppers is dropping price beef. Says there was a breach of trust to make them believe that the dad was still in charge.
Yeah.
And they're concerned that the change in leadership will impact quality. So,
yeah.
Which seems like a stretch, but hey, I guess that's what they did. So, yeah, so that's where it leaves it. And so I think it's going to come up that Lou's going to admit that she told, and then Amy's going to be upset. And then and Nathan's going to be upset with both of them. So what's going to happen? We will just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm still Team Caleb, so.
I know. I like Caleb. So
the check-in at the end of every recap. We still Team Caleb.
Yeah. And we have, do you know, let's see. So last season, do you know this is just 10 episodes?
10 episodes, yeah. Yeah, 10.
Okay, so we're over halfway done. Can you believe
it's crazy.
it?
Yeah, crazy. We say it every season. It's still crazy.
Yeah, we only have 2 more recaps left.
So fast. Wow. It goes by so fast.
Well, let us know what you think of these 2 episodes. We'd love to hear in the comments section or on Twitter. And Michelle, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Michelle R. Benson.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, the Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And you want to check out our Heartland playlist for all of our recaps and interviews. We've interviewed a good chunk of the cast. So take a look at that, and the writers and everything else. So make sure you check out that playlist, all of our recaps, and check out the Patreon group. That's the biggest way you can support us. And we have some pretty cool benefits. And we have our merch store. We do have some Heartland inspired merch in there. So check it out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.